Hello everyone and welcome back to more Fantasy Life I. Today's video will be the ultimate remake guide for this game. What that pretty much means is that I am going to explain every single one of the appliques and stickers over here, and I'm going to tell you on which specific tools, weapons, or pieces of armor you can use them on, and what they actually do. Now every single one of these sticker and applique recipes need to be bought over here at Marco's shop. In order to get every applique and sticker, you will need a shop rating of 5. The dragon sticker and Tunoco sticker, for example, you need a shop rating of 5 for those, and same for the Hagram and the trip applique. So just to make things easy on you, you should probably get Marco's shop to that shop rating of 5. I made a video covering how you can do that and where you can get all of the required materials. It is not the easiest thing to do in this game, but you're gonna have to do it eventually, so why not now? So after you get the ability to buy all of these stickers and appliques, you just need a couple dosh to buy all of the recipes. So let's get to showing you guys how you can actually use them. Now this is gonna be the ultimate remake guide, because eventually you are just gonna be remaking the best tools to get the optimal stats on them. But you can, of course, if you craft something for the first time, also use extra materials, which those extra materials is of course referring to the appliques and stickers. Now even if you have stickers and appliques in your bag, you won't be able to use them straight away. You will need to make some progress over here on the skill board and make your way to this note which says extra materials. So this is going to allow you to use extra materials when you are crafting a blacksmith recipe. You will have to unlock this as a blacksmith, a carpenter, a tailor, and an alchemist. I believe those are the only 4 lives that can actually make use of the extra materials. So of course make sure that you have these unlocked when you want to add these stickers and appliques. So finally, only one more thing to mention before I get to explaining every single sticker and applique separately. It is important to say that you cannot use every extra material on every weapon, shield, or tool. So over here I'm taking a look at the weapons, and if I want to add extra materials, I can only add these stickers. So everything that is in white over here I am able to use, but all of these things that are grayed out, so the appliques, I cannot use, and I also can't use the oak tree sticker and the golem sticker. That's because you can only use these on gathering and crafting tools actually. So that's going to be something good to know. If you wanted to get item drop rate plus on your weapons, for example, that is not something you can do. Now with all of the intro stuff out of the way, I am so excited to show you this Google sheet over here. I get way too excited about these. Unfortunately, I don't remember where I got this one, and it doesn't seem like they linked any credits over here in like the tabs at the bottom. So if you know who made this sheet, or if you are the maker of this sheet, please let me know in the comments. I would love to shout you out. The best feature of this sheet is that you can go to these last tabs over here and see every single skill that can get added to the weapons, tools, shields, and armor pieces. So this is exactly what I'm going to use to tell you guys what exact stats that you can get on all of these different things. So we're going to explain a couple of things over here that is going to make everything clear. Let's take the shields over here, for example. You have the shield with the ordinary and fine rank, and the shield with the notable plus rank. This basically refers to these ranks over here, so the ordinary and fine rank, and then anything that is notable or above. So if you unlock more difficult recipes, for example, they are gonna start at notable, and you can even make supreme and legendary versions. That is what notable and above means. There's gonna be pretty big differences between these different ranks. So if we take a look at these HP values, for example, you are able to get plus 20 or plus 30 HP on a shield that is of an ordinary or a fine rank. But if you make anything that is notable or above, you are able to get 30 and even 50 more HP stats. So that's going to be a really important thing to take into account. You probably want to make the notable or above versions of weapons, tools, and shields, because you are going to be able to get these skills either more easily or in higher amounts. And then something else, you can see that the HP values I just talked about, for example, they are kind of grayed out. That means that you need to use the specific applique that I will tell you about if you want to be able to roll those skills at all. I'll kind of simplify that for you. If you were to make these shields without using any extra materials, the only skills that you'll be able to roll on the shield are gonna be these ones over here. So everything that is written in full black, you have a chance of getting those skills whenever you make the item without extra materials. And if you want to get a chance at getting the HP plus, for example, you will need to use an apple applique, because the apple applique increases the chance that you will get HP skills. So that is the second really big thing that is important. Basically just the difference between the ordinary and fine ranks, and then the notable and above ones, and these grayed out skills over here that you can only roll when you are using extra materials. So that is really everything you need to know about this Google sheet. It's going to be linked in the description down below. I highly recommend having this sheet open when you're trying to make the best weapons, tools, and pieces of armor in the game. I will of course quickly tell you guys what all of the appliques and these stickers do, and because this is the ultimate remaking guide, I will of course tell you how you can remake stuff. Now what is remaking and why is it even good if you don't know what it is? Let's say for example you want to get some good skills on the paladin shield over here. You can perfectly just keep crafting the ordinary or even the notable version, and you probably won't run out of materials anytime soon. But if you want to keep making the Shield of Time, or even worse, the True Shield of Time, which has insanely rare materials, if you want to keep crafting this item over and over again, trying to get some really good skills on it, it is gonna get insanely pricey. That is why the crafting lives not only have an extra materials option, they also have a remake option. So over here on the skill board, you want to unlock the remake node, and after you do so, whenever you interact with a crafting table, you can choose the remake option. Now this is going to take a look at every single equipment thing that you have in your bag, and as long as it's not something special like these pre-order bonuses or like digital deluxe, I don't remember what these were, as long as it's not something special like that, or like any gifted item, if you got something gifted by someone else, I believe you cannot remake those as well. So as long as it is something you crafted yourself, you should be able to remake it. So that's what I'm going to do with the Shield of Time over here, and let's try rolling some HP skills on them. For that, we are going to have to use the Appliqué. I actually kind of forgot to tell you guys that you do need Redux stones if you want to remake. So this is something you might think is valuable in the beginning of the game, but I made a guide telling you how you can get an infinite amount of these Redux stones very easily as soon as you unlock them. So it is not a valuable material at all. It is very easily replenishable, and it takes you maybe like half an hour, I'd say, to get 999 Redux stones, and that is gonna set you good for a hot while. So whilst it is not totally free to remake anything, it is definitely way better using Redux stones than using all of those legendary materials you would normally need to make the Shield of Time or other really expensive tools and weapons. One more thing I guess I'll let you guys know is that you are not guaranteed to get these skills. So over here they say HP skills are easier to receive. This just means that you're gonna get a way higher chance of getting these skills, but it doesn't mean that any of them are gonna pop up at all. Anyways, let's add the Appliqué and go ahead and remake the item. Alright, just like that, and I did manage to roll an HP skill, but we also rolled damage reduced. So as I said, you are not guaranteed to get only HP skills, you just have a higher chance, and over here I was lucky enough to roll one of them. So after that, you are gonna get the option to replace the old skills you had on your shield. So let's say right now I was rolling for the HP skill, so we are gonna equip that one. And let's say I don't really want the damage reduction and I'd rather have the defense, I can just use the existing skill this shield had already and put it back, and let's confirm these are the two skills that I'd like to use. Now if I wanted another of those HP skills, you can just press the continue redoing button over here, and it is gonna also consume another Appliqué. Alright, we got pretty lucky this time around. I rolled 2 HP plus skills, and we actually got one of the variations, so I got a plus 50 and a plus 31. Those are the only options you have when making notable or above shields. So let's equip the plus 50 HP plus skill that we just rolled, and let's reuse the old one we had, and that's gonna be the highest possible HP up that I can get on a single shield, plus 100. After that, you can select other equipment to remake or just finish if you don't want to do anything else, and that is pretty much all there is to remaking. A pretty simple process, but it is kind of annoying trying to figure out what skills you can naturally roll on pieces of equipment, so the things that were like not grayed out, and it's also kind of annoying to figure out what some appliques and stickers actually really do. I'm really trying my best here to make this as noob friendly or like beginner friendly as I can, so I hope everyone is following along. It really isn't that difficult, but I think some people might think it is. So now that you know how to remake and you know how this guide works, I'm gonna tell you precisely what effects you are gonna get from using the appliques and stickers. First up, I'm gonna cover every single one of the appliques, and you should know that every single one of them is usable on shields, all of these armor pieces, including like the dresses and the cape, and the glasses and accessories. So all of those things you are able to use appliques on, meaning you cannot use the appliques on the weapons and you cannot use them on the tools. And same goes for the stickers. You cannot use stickers on like shields, you can't use stickers on pieces of armor. So with that, let's kind of cover the first applique again, the Appliqué. It is going to give you these bonuses on shields, so plus 20 and plus 30 for ordinary and fine ones, and plus 30 and plus 50 HP for notable and above shields. Over here for the pieces of equipment, the HP skills are already in black, so you might think, why are we even using appliques? We can already get these without using extra materials. That is because of course you are going to get a higher chance of rolling the HP skills when you do use the applique, so it's still definitely worth it to use them if you are trying to go for HP plus specifically. With that being said, you can get the normal armor pieces with plus 30 and plus 50 HP, the full body pieces, so that's going to be the dresses. This basically takes the top and the bottom. That's going to give you plus 50 and plus 100 HP, and then the capes is also different from like the normal armor pieces. The cape's going to give you plus 15 and plus 20 HP, so you pretty much just always want to roll for like the highest amount possible if you want to make the ultimate armor. You can also see that they mentioned the hero set, forger king set, and the artisan king set. These are the exclusive sets that you can get from completing the Colosseum missions in Swollen Island. I'd say don't bother using any appliques on these at all, because they actually have some very cool things that you can roll on these that you can't roll on anything else. So the hero set, for example, is the the only armor set that can roll attack up and magic attack up, and you can roll those naturally. So you should just craft the hero set without using any appliques and try for that attack or magic attack up skill depending on what kind of damage you want to do. For the Forager King set, I highly recommend just getting the Gathering, and for the Artisan King set, I highly recommend just getting the Crafting. So that's all I'm going to say about those pieces of equipment for this video. Up next, we have the specs and accessories. You can roll plus 15 or plus 20 HP on both of those. So now you should probably 100% understand how this sheet works. You can get more HP on these shields, for example, than these accessories. So I'm not going to bother telling you the exact amounts anymore. If you want to know that, I just really recommend checking out the Google sheet. So what I'm going to do now is just refer to only one piece of equipment over here, and I'll tell you what the applique exactly does. This video is probably already boring enough as it is, so I'm not going to bother spending half an hour literally showing you every single value that you can get out of the extra materials. Anyways, up next we have the Honey Applique, and this is going to give you resistance against the different status effects in the game. So it is possible to get resistance against burn, frostbite, poison, and paralysis. There is also a sleep status in the game, but I don't think any enemy actually has the ability to put you to sleep. I could be wrong though, but in any case, it is not possible to get a sleep resist skill. So that is pretty much it for the Honey Applique. Again, you can use every single applique on all of the armor pieces and accessories as well. Up next, we have the Fairy Applique, which will give you more magic defense. Pretty straightforward. You are going to receive less damage when you get attacked by any magic attacks. The Shield Applique is going to be the same, but it's going to increase your chances at rolling defense skills. So you're just going to take less damage from physical attacks. Then we have the Hero Applique, and this one is kind of interesting. So this is going to give you more resistance against specific elemental attacks. So if an enemy using fire attacks is giving you trouble, you might want to roll Fire Resistance Plus. To be honest though, I really don't recommend rolling these. You're probably way better off just rolling magic or normal defense, but still it is something you could do. So yeah, if you wanted to, you can use the Hero Applique to get more elemental resistances. It's kind of interesting that you can get like either +3 fire resist or +5, but then -3 water resist. Like, I don't think that extra 2 resistance, is that how you say that, is worth the -3 water resistance. It's kind of weird how they did that, but yeah, that's the Hero Applique. Then we have the Pirate Applique, and this one will make it easier to roll skills that will increase your chance of inflicting status effects. So it's going to be a flat 50% increase in actually landing those status effects on enemies. So it is pretty nice. I don't think having 2 frostbite skills is going to make it so you 100% of the time inflict frostbite upon others. So it is not that broken, but it is going to make it significantly easier, I'd assume, to inflict specific status conditions onto others. So that's it for the Pirate Applique. Then we have the Princess Applique, and this one is kind of interesting. This allows you to roll skills that increase the chance that dodge will drop. So you can get a 5 to 10% increase. However, it is like the most useless applique in the game probably, because the main way that you get dodge is not by killing monsters. It is funny enough by crafting these stickers and appliques that you actually make like a butt ton of money. So yeah, very useless applique, but if you just want to get a shield, all of your armor sets and all of your accessories to have like dodge percent up, it's probably going to be pretty funny to see all of the enemies dropping a pretty good amount of dodge. Just don't do that. It's going to be so not worth your time. Then we have something that is definitely going to be worth your time though, and that is using the trip appliques. So remember, you do need a shop rating of 5 to buy these from Marco's shop, but it's going to be so worth your time because getting this on your shields if you are a paladin, but more specifically on the armor sets and on all of the accessories, that is going to be so useful in having the enemies drop more stuff. So what you want to do is pretty much just make this on every single thing you have. I really recommend just rolling item drop rate skills on every single thing, because it's going to be way better than getting a little bit more defense, getting like some elemental resistances. That is maybe a little useful, but in my opinion, it is definitely the most useful thing to have item drop rate on all of your pieces of equipment. So just your shield, your armor, and your accessories. It is going to take a while until you finally make a full set for yourself, and after that you should really make additional sets for your buddies as well, because their item drop rate is also taken into account. So yeah, the trip applique, literally the best thing in the entire game. I only wish we had a sticker or applique that would give you EXP up, because unfortunately it is not possible to roll EXP up on every single piece of equipment. I'll cover that a little bit later on. Then we have another interesting one. The Skelegon applique is going to make it easier to roll critical evasion skills. This is yet again a really niche and just not that useful skill to roll. From my understanding, the only thing this does is whenever an enemy is landing a critical attack attack on you, you'll have like a 10% chance to dodge it, for example, or like an additional 10% chance to dodge it. It's really niche. It is most likely not going to save you from anything. Just don't use this applique. It is really not good. Then finally, we have the Hagram applique, and this is another one where you do need Marco Shop to be at level 5. So you might think it is going to be really good, right? Getting the damage reduction over here. Not really though. I literally don't know the difference between damage reduction and just defense and magic defense. Someone tried explaining it to me in the Fantasy Life Discord, but I just couldn't understand what they were talking about. I'd say don't break your head over it. Just get some defense or magic defense, or if we're gonna be honest, just get the item drop rate. Yeah, I don't know. I wish the Hagram applique did something more useful. But then finally, I want to mention just one more thing, and that has nothing to do with extra materials, but with an innate effect that these specs can give you over here. So these specs or glasses are the only thing in the game that allow you to get EXP up. Now you can get EXP if you actually age some of the like tools and weapons, I believe. However, I don't recommend doing that because once you hit level 100, EXP is not going to do anything for you anymore. But getting it on your specs is really not that difficult, so I really recommend doing this as soon as you can. Make those specs and remake them until you get the 10% in both slots and get yourself the best EXP armor that you can. Really easy to do. You only need to do this for like 4 specs, 1 for you and 3 for your buddies, and you'll be golden like Huntrix for the rest of the game. So that is it for all of the appliques. Let's get to the fun stuff. In my opinion, these stickers are a lot more fun than the appliques. So first up, I'm gonna cover all of these stickers that have effect on weapons. So these stickers I'll talk about now, you cannot use on any of the tools. We'll get to those ones later. And up first, we have the spider sticker, which is gonna make it easier to roll status effect chance skills. So literally the exact same thing as the pirate applique did, but right now you can just roll it on your weapons. So just higher chance of inflicting frostbite, burn, poison, paralysis, and sleep. Then we have a really basic one, the Tortortoise sticker. This is gonna make it easier to roll HP and SP skills. Don't recommend doing this though. I'll tell you what sticker I recommend most when we get to that one. Then we have the white Woolie sticker, and this one will make it easier to roll attack skills. So that's gonna be these ones over here, only the ones that give you flat attack. And this still is not the one that I'd actually recommend. Up next, we have the black Woolie sticker, and this one's gonna do the same as the white one, but for magic attack. Probably just want to roll this on like the wands over here and not actually on the swords. Even if you have a sword that does elemental damage, I still think it's just gonna be easier to roll the normal attack skills. Then we have the mimic sticker, and this one will make it easier to roll elemental attack skills. So let's say you have a weapon with earth element attacks, you might want to roll this one to get more damage in that aspect and try going for that 10% extra earth damage. That's what the mimic sticker is for. Then we have the Corny sticker, and this one will make it easier to roll critical damage skills. So these skills are not going to make it easier to deal the critical damage. They're just going to increase the amount of damage you deal whenever you get a critical hit. This could be kind of useful whenever you use like crit aids and use that to boost your critical chance to like 100%. Could be nice to deal really big damage that way, but it is in my opinion nothing compared to the best sticker that you can use on your weapons, and that is the Tunoco sticker. This one is going to make it easier to roll charge attack skills. You are actually able to use this on tools as well, so I'll cover that when we talk about the tools. But the reason why I recommend this one over any other is because unlike in Fantasy Life or the 3DS, where you had amazing combos that you could do with your basic attacks, in this game you are probably better off constantly using charge attacks. You probably never use your basic attacks to take down enemies, and if you are doing that, I'm telling you, you're definitely better off just using the charge attacks. They deal a lot of damage, and there's pretty much no downside to using them, other than them of course costing SP. But if you have crafting buddies with you, you should never have to worry about that at all. So in my opinion, I like having more charge damage over it taking less time to unleash your charge attack, but I think it's pretty much up to preference. I think if you really compare the two, they might kind of do the same thing, because the quicker you can get your attacks out, the more damage you are gonna deal as well. But yeah, just to see some higher numbers, I like going for the base more damage on my charge attacks. So yeah, the Tunoco sticker, definitely recommend using this one on your weapons. And then the final sticker that we can use on weapons, the dragon sticker. This one is gonna make it easier to receive special skill modifiers. Now don't get me wrong, special skills are pretty great, but they're unfortunately just not as good as charge attacks, I believe. So even though you are going to deal a little bit more damage using your special skills now, ultimately you are definitely way better off just getting more charge damage. But yeah, if you really want to boost your special skill damage, go ahead and use the dragon sticker. Now that is every sticker that you can use on the weapons. Let's cover the tools next. These are also kind of separated into different categories, and that's going to be the gathering tools, so the ones you use to fish and mine, and the crafting tools you use to do like blacksmithing and tailoring. Now there's actually a few interesting things over here that I'm going to mention before getting to the stickers, and that's these additional skills that you can get. So you can kind of compare that to the EXP you could get from these specs. There is no applique that is going to make it easier to roll the EXP skills, the same way that there are no stickers that's going to make it easier to roll these additional skills. Now, why would you want to get these additional skills? I feel like for the gathering tools, so the pickaxe, axe, fishing rod, and hoe, it is not really worth going for these, and you're going to be better off getting the sweet spot, and you're going to be better off getting the sweet spot skills over here, for example. Those are definitely the best ones. But for the crafting tools, and let's quickly go back to the game to explain this one, every single crafting buddy has a skill, like Shay over here, that improves her ability to craft tailor objects, and then Klaus over here, another tailor, can craft fabric armor more easily. So if I were to make a tool for Shay or Klaus, let's take Shay for example. She had a skill that made it easier to make tailor objects, and that is not to be underestimated. It is going to be a lot easier crafting tailor objects, so that's pretty much just the decorations, if you have Shay with you. So that is why if I were to make a tool for her, I would probably try to roll the tailor objects additional skill, which yet again, I cannot boost the odds of getting that by using any stickers. In fact, the thing that you should do when you want to roll these specific skills is not use any stickers at all, because that way you're not going to be more likely to roll any of these, meaning that you'll actually be more likely to just roll the additional skills. So that is why, especially for the crafting tools over here, I do think it might be worth going for the additional skills over the normal skills that you can get right here. So I do definitely want to make that very clear and explain it. But with that being said, let's cover the gathering tools first. The oak tree sticker is going to make it easier for gathering skills to appear. Now this is kind of vague because it is literally going to make it easier for all of these highlighted skills to appear, so it's kind of hard to pinpoint a single one, and that is kind of unfortunate because for the gathering tools you want to get the sweet spot plus 10%. That is by far, no questions asked, the best thing that you can get on a tool. It might be worth having the charge damage, but I still think having sweet spot up is going to be better. So yeah, the oak tree sticker can give you more of the skill points, which is just going to be, let's say you make the pickaxe with the oak tree sticker, that would give you more mining. So mining plus 10 for example is the best thing that you can get. It also gives you a chance of getting more SP. You have a higher chance of rolling the sweet spot skills, which obviously you want to get that, and you also have an increased chance of rolling the efficient gathering skill, which that is going to be these bottom ones over here, basically just meaning that you use less SP whenever you use charge skills. Really useless. You should just have crafting buddies with you when you gather and never run out of SP ever again. So yeah, just use the oak tree sticker to increase your chances of rolling the sweet spot skills. And then, as I said before, the Tunoco sticker you could also use on the tools, so that's going to be the gathering tools, and it's going to make it easier to roll charge attack skills. So you could try going for the Tunoco sticker and get increased charge attack damage. I definitely don't think it's worth going for the charge time minus 10%, for example. It is already pretty quick at charging up your special skills. If this would do something like decrease the animation that plays whenever you use charge attacks, that might be worth your time. But right now, if you want to go for charge attack skills, just go for the damage up. And that's it for all of the gathering stickers that you can use. Let's go to the final sticker of this video. This is going to be such a long one, and that is going to be the Golem sticker over here. Now, if you skipped to this point in the video straight away, you probably think this is the most useless thing ever because it's going to increase your chance of getting all of these skills, and that is kind of true. But do remember that you can of course roll the additional skills as well on crafting tools, so it is going to decrease your chance that you roll those additional skills and increase the chance that you get the base ones. But yet again, I don't recommend any of these really, at least not when you're making tools for your buddies. When you're making tools for your buddies, yet again, just take a look at their innate skill that they have and try to play into that with the tailor objects, for example, as I said before with Shay. But if you make a tool for yourself, it is just going to be down to your own preference as to what you want to make. So the skill points is going to make it so you get more tailoring, for example, so tailoring plus 10, that's going to help you out a little bit maybe. The minigame time skills that you can roll is going to increase the time you have to get an excellent on your crafting minigame, so you have like a certain amount of time to get an excellent, and if you don't complete all of the little like taps and spins or whatever within that time limit, you will get a great, and ultimately that will slow down how quickly you make something. So minigame time might be a little helpful. And then the one that I actually recommend least is the skill charge rate up, because you really just don't use the special skill all too often in crafting. I think it's definitely worth it more to get the minigame time or just the basic skill point up. So that is going to be it for the Golem sticker. Alright, that's it for all of these beautiful appliques and stickers. This is definitely the longest, and maybe, depending on how interested you are in remaking and extra materials, the most boring video that I've made so far. But I definitely do think it's important to make an in-depth guide about the remake system in the game and like the extra materials, how they work exactly, because I don't think a lot of people knew that it was not even possible to get certain skills on tools and weapons if you are not using extra materials, for example. Like, even I didn't know that. I didn't know that it was impossible to get HP skills on a shield, for example, if you're not using the Apple applique. So yeah, definitely a couple of interesting things there. Yet again, you should definitely check out the Google Sheet. It's going to be really helpful to find out what kind of skills you want on your equipment. But with that, let's please not make this video longer than it is going to be already. If anyone actually stuck out to the end of this one, I want to thank you so much for watching. Let me know know what your favorite sticker or applique was. Let me know what kind of effect you want them to add into the game. Other than an EXP sticker or applique, we obviously all want that. But yeah, yet again, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video or find it helpful and you want to see more stuff just like this, definitely don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't done so yet. Not even 5% of the people watching my videos are actually subscribed, so I would appreciate it a lot if you would do so. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next one. Alright, later. Bye.